How many people don't get this? Seriously. Your wudu is invalid. Without the elbow, your salah is invalid. And don't say, oh, I didn't know. You have experience. No. Now you know. إلى المرافق means مع المرافق. Okay? Right hand lift. طيب. We don't need to go, if we want to go details with this, with the fiqh, we will never finish one page. Okay? You can ask whether ثالثها مسح جميع الرأس ومنه الأذنان. Wiping the whole head, including the ears. The ears من الرأس. الأذنان من الرأس. The ears from the head. طيب, wiping the whole head. يعني معظم الرأس. That's what they mean. Wiping the whole head. يعني most of the head. طب how can I do that? You see people? And just like that. You with? يا عم انت التسريحة بتعمل وفين؟ wiping and coming back. هذا الورد في السنة. You wet your hands, grab your head, go backward and come forward. Or you go with your ears. ماشي. فهكذا you got most of the head instead of من لحالك. طيب, رابعها, so the fourth now, غسل الرجلين إلى الكعبين. غسل الرجلين إلى الكعبين. Washing the feet to the knee, elbow, to the ankles. طيب, the fourth فرض, an obligation of الوضوء, to wash your feet to the ankles. أي مع الأنكل. يعني مع الكعبين. You must wash the ankles. You must wash the ankles. Okay? هنا قال غسل الرجلين. والأولى, better was to say washing the feet. Was better to say wiping the feet. Better. For two reasons. First, because that is what the Shar used. That's what the ayah used. Second, طبعا whether it refers back للقراءة, وامسحوا بأرجلكم بأيديكم, وامسحوا برؤوسكم وأيديكم, وامسحوا برؤوسكم وأرجلكم. القراءة عندنا هنا وامسحوا برؤوسكم وأرجلكم. فأرجلكم منصوبة يعني مفعولة. Two understanding of this. منصوبة because it really goes back to the first verb, which is wash. Wash your face, wash your hands or your arms, and wash your legs or your feet. And in between, because of the order, between came wipe the head. But some of Ahl al-Ilm, and that's common in Arabic, that it could be majrura with the حرف الباء برؤوسكم, and be written منصوبة, but it goes back to that. But in one قراءة, in القراءة الأخرى, the other قراءة, جاءت مجرورة برؤوسكم وأرجلكم. فthat referred to that المسح, because the first order was wash. When he reached the head and the feet, he said wipe. فكان الأولى using مسح الرجلين, because المسح includes two things, غسل وwipe. أما الغسل includes only غسل. And we know فرائض الوضوء, you can wipe. If you put on your khuf or your sock with on tahara and it covers the ankle, you can wipe. But had he used مسح, he would have included both. But he used غسل. Why they use غسل? Why he use غسل؟ يعني إحنا نعرف we know more than him. لا. وإذا فقهاء use غسل. They didn't say مسح. Because this issue is mentioned in the books of Al-Aqidah. Washing the feet in Al-Aqidah? Yes. Yeah. Because some groups deviant, they do not see that it's allowed to wipe. منهم الرافضة لعنهم الروافض 12 known as Shia, they do not see that it's permissible to wipe. The ulama mentioned this issue in the books of Al-Aqaid. But don't be surprised when you see this in Al-Aqidah. Okay? But anyway, Al-Fariḍah is either to wash, or if you had worn it or put it on after with tahara, to wipe. Wiping could be Fariḍah based on the situation. Right. The fifth, الترتيب. The fifth condition for al-wudu, or fariḍah, not condition, for al-wudu, is order, to be put in order. Because the ayah put it in order. And the fact that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, اغسل, wash your face and your arm. And then he said, wipe your head. And then he said, then wash your feet, based on the Qur'an. That means he requires the order. Okay, so the order face, then arms, then head and ears, then feet. You scramble these things, your wudu is invalid. But what's about yameen or yasar? Right and left? Sunnah. It's the sunnah to start with the right and go right hand or right arm, right arm, right leg. Right arm, left arm. That's sunnah. If someone make wudu with left arm and then right arm, ما في شيء. It's no problem. Because the ayah didn't specify right and left or left and right. But أقرب للسنة, we remember, we said bid'ah and khilaf السنة. If you go left and right, we say this is not the sunnah, but we don't say bid'ah. But someone, every wudu now start left and right, left and right, left and right, and becomes deen. Must be left and right. Bid'ah. Tizan. طيب. So tartib is mandatory with that order. طبعا everything else we did not mention is sunnah. And you have the option. طبعا انت you want your wudu to be perfect. So you fulfill all the conditions, all the wajibat or faraid, and all the sunnah. سادسها الموالاة. Okay? الموالاة is the wudu is steps. Whatever we mention is steps, right? Is to do the steps in a timely manner in relationship or in relation to each other. Yeah. You cannot wash your face, then take a phone call and talk for half an hour and come back and wash your arms. MashaAllah, واثق من نفسه. Very confident in himself. You can't do that. طيب, what is considered enough time that I am required to start all over again? العرف. العرف. Some say it depends if the water dries up. That is possible, but it's an opinion. But the water could stay for 2 days, based on the weather. You go pour water on and stay for 3 hours, still water there. But that is a period between washing your face and washing your arms. As they said, العرف. العرف, the customs. What people of that area, of that time, consider too much separation. Okay? يعني إحنا مثلا ندخل الآن وضوء, make wudu, and we see a brother, and he washes his arm, and he takes a phone and he comes back after 15 minutes. What do we, according to what we know, to the way we live, do we think that 15 minutes was too long?
Yeah. Sure.
So he starts over. Now 15 minutes somewhere else could be short. But it's very, that is what the الحكم, يعني the ruling is based on العرف, and at the end of the day, you have to use your common sense. Okay? فهذه, these are the obligations of الوضوء. اقرأ.
وواجب التسمية مع الذكر.
Now, he talks about واجبات الوضوء. Okay? الواجب, he talked about الفروض, which is الأركان. In other words, any one of those four we just mentioned, okay, or six, I mean, any one of the six, you miss, your wudu is invalid. Now the next part, what he mentions, if you miss, it's not, but you should not miss it intentionally. Okay. However, there are some things he mentioned are sunnah, they're not wajib. And even if you miss it intentionally, there's nothing risking your wudu. منها أول واحدة ماشي. قال التسمية وهي آخر واحدة. Okay? تسمية. To say Bismillah when you start. The general asl, generally we are recommended to say Bismillah when we start anything. صحيح? Yeah. There is no specific dalil for الوضوء that you should start with Bismillah. That's why it's not wajib, let alone to be fard. That is out of the picture because of the ayah. But to say something wajib, you must have a clear dalil that says it's a wajib. There is no dalil served that way. But the general dalil that we should start our actions with Bismillah. يعني استعين بالله بالله استعين أو بسم الله استعين. كما قلنا اسمه بسم الله أقرأ. فهي أكثر شيء, biggest thing or highest thing is sunnah, to start with Bismillah, as the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to like the Basmala, and to start everything with the Basmala. فهي سنة, وهذا أعلى شيء المفروض. وبعضهم قال جائزة, it's permissible, يعني not even sunnah, it's permissible, لها وجه. طبعا what we said about the obligations of الوضوء, الفرائض, and that the face, and the obligation is one time. The fard is one time. Now we know three. And ورد عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم two. ورد one. فالواجب or الفرض a must one. And the second and the third sunnah.
So this issue about traveling, can you dry your right foot before you wash the left?
Traveling?
If you're traveling.
لا, قال المسألة or this issue has nothing to do with traveling or not, because you're allowed to wipe while you're resident or residing. You don't have to be traveling. The issue that is present, I think, what you're asking, if I'm making wudu and I washed my right foot and I put my socks on. And now I wash my left foot and I put my socks on. Can I wipe? Okay, that's your question.
The question is, sometimes the place is dirty, so you wash your right foot and you dry it, and then you wear the socks, and then you wash the other. Can you dry it? Can you wash it can you dry the right one before you finish your wudu or not?
No,
That's my question.
you shouldn't. You can put your socks on, okay? But you don't need to dry now, you're separating. Al-Muwalat, according to the opinion that we mentioned, that there should not be time separation to wipe, like to dry. But again, if we go back to al-urf, is that considered separation? It's not. Okay? فالأمر صار فيه خلاف. Now the issue comes when you wipe. Can I wipe? Now the condition to wipe is you have to have both on tahara. And when you put your socks, you had wudu. When you put the first socks, you didn't have wudu. Because your wudu was incomplete. Then?
For washing the feet, is it allowed just to pour water?
Sure.
Then expose your feet under the water without
Yeah.
using your hand? Without
course.
using your hand?
Without what?
Without using your hand?
Rubbing? You don't have to rub. But the water has to reach everywhere. Okay? Now we have many hands here.
You have a bath, you have to make a wudu.
It depends on the intention. Now, al-ghusl, if you have a shower, if you're taking a shower, first, to be ghusl, you cannot make intention for ghusl if there is no need to make ghusl. Okay? Someone jumps in the shower, and he says, my intention is ghusl. Doesn't work. Unless there is a reason for him to make ghusl, then it will not consider ghusl. He had jima', he had intercourse, a woman just finished her period. فهذا can do ghusl. Other than that, it's a shower. Okay? If there is no valid reason to make ghusl, then you have to make wudu when you're done. But if there is valid reason to make ghusl, then if you had the intention of ghusl, then you have wudu as well. Because the wudu below ghusl. Okay? Wudu below ghusl. Got it?
Okay. Say I make my wudu in the morning, so I make coffee, right? Then once I leave home, I put the socks on and everything. I leave home, say I make wudu again, because I just wipe over the socks, so I need to eat.
You put them on after you made wudu?
Right. Now, when I leave home,
Sure.
so when the next Salah come in, say I don't want to take the socks off, so I just wipe
Of
over.
course. Unless your socks is so thin that if you wipe on it, the water reaches your skin. Such socks you cannot wipe on. Okay? وعند الأحناف must be leather. But الجمهور الراجح, and the more correct, doesn't have to.
Can you make wudu while showering? Wudu.
Can you make wudu
Wudu, yeah. While showering.
while showering? يعني the shower is raining and you make wudu like, yeah, why not? Like naked, you mean?
Yeah.
طب just ask like that. There's nothing wrong to make wudu while naked. طبعا بعضهم قال أنا أتكلم فيها, some talked about it, but there is nothing wrong with that. It's not ستر العورة, it's not a requirement. We went over the requirements and the prerequisites or الشروط of الوضوء. It didn't say ستر العورة. ماشي؟
غسل الجمعة is voluntary.
نعم. الجمعة من الأسباب. You have a reason, غسل الجمعة, so it will count as wudu without making wudu. We said, if the ghusl has the valid reason, then that will include wudu. But also from the sunnah, he would make wudu before he make ghusl, and from the sunnah, he would make wudu after ghusl. But al-ghusl by itself, if the intention is ghusl, and there is a reason for al-ghusl, then that includes the wudu as well. بعض أهل العلم قال, but you should rinse your mouth and nose as well. Okay? بعضهم. طيب.
استخدام في البحر شيخ. ما يجب الوضوء.
نعم لا هو الحل ماؤه هو الطهور ماؤه الحل ميتته. You jump in, you mean make a wudu with the water of the sea? Just swimming أنت هذا صار غسل.
يستوجب وضوء بدون وجوب غسل. الغسل غير واجب يعني.
لا, you need to make wudu. Now same thing as you cannot just dump yourself in the water and come out and say I have wudu now. You could do that with ghusl if you had a reason to make ghusl. Okay? اقرأ.
ونواقضه 8 الخارج من السبيلين والخارج الفاحش النجس من الجسد وزوال العقل ومس المرأة بشهوة ومس الفرج باليد قبلا كان أو دبرا وأكل لحم الجزور وتغسيل الميت والردة عن الإسلام أعاذنا الله من ذلك.
Now he talks about what's left. He talks about his conditions. He talks about the faraid. He talks about the wajibat, according to him. And what's left is what breaks the wudu. Nawaqid al-wudu. What nullify the wudu. And he said there are 8. There are 8. And he mentions them. Okay? First, he said, Al-Khariju min as-sabilayn. Whatever comes out of al-qubul or al-dub. Whatever comes out from the private parts of the man or the woman. From the front or the back. Okay? That breaks anything. Whether what comes out, tahir or najis. Whether what comes out, tahir or najis. Then it invalidates. Someone passed a stone. Breaks the wudu. Okay? Someone bled. Breaks the wudu. Doesn't have to be only urine. معتاد أو غير معتاد. Something usually comes out, urine, pieces, or unusual thing, as I gave you example. Stone, pus, air, not necessarily wind, but air. Okay, that could invalidates that wudu. Second, الخارج الفاحش النجس من الجسد. He said the second thing is anything that is unpleasant or too much that comes out from any part of the body. Okay? So he mentions here 2 conditions. Okay? One, it has to be najis. He said it has to be najis. مثل الدم. Now we're going along with his opinion. Okay? Like blood, najis. So if you get a cut and too much blood comes out, هذا najis. هذا break your wudu. The second condition he puts for this point, فحش. الفحش يعني الكثرة. It's not a little drop. It's not a head of a pin or a needle. لا. It's too much. Like, who decides what's too much, what's not? مين؟ العرف. The custom. Some people, they live in a place where always getting cut. They live in the jungle and always getting cuts and يشوفه bleed. That's nothing. Some people spoiled like us. A little blood can, whoa, you need to call the emergency. فهذا العرف. طيب. نعم. الراجح في هذا إنه it does not necessarily break the law. What comes out of the body. ورد في السنة ورد في القصص إنه يصلوا في الجهاد و he has arrows and 2 and second in his body and he's bleeding, yet he will continue praying. Didn't invalidate his will. Okay? Now we're not talking about nose bleeding, for example, because that, if it forces you to leave the salah, then that's the first. حكم الدم مختلف فيه. Is it dam, the blood that comes out of cuts, najis or not? Different opinions. But it's not white and black. Okay. The third, زوال العقل. زوال العقل. The mind becomes absent. This could be like real absence, and that is mind going crazy, and could be temporary. Just حكم يعني. When someone goes to sleep, when that happens, the person loses his wudu. طبعا النوم or unconsciousness, but sleeping more must be deep enough. To invalidate them. The fourth, مس المرأة بشهوة. Touching a woman with shahwa. And the woman, that is permissible for the man. Touching her, meaning direct contact with her skin. بشهوة. والشهوة. With desire. واحد مثلا leaving to work and he gives his wife a kiss in the cheek. Doesn't break the wudu. Rajah, and the more correct, it doesn't. The Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam used to do that. Doesn't break. Someone walks home, and when he walks, he shakes his wife's hand. Doesn't break the wudu. لكن إن كان بشهوة and with desire, it's a different story. وخامسها مس الفرج باليد قبلا كان أو دبرا. The fifth is to touch الفرج, the private part, with the hand. Here he said whether you're touching it with the palm or you're touching it with the back of the hand. But there is detail I'll mention. 6, he said أكل لحم الجزور. أكل لحم الجزور يعني eating camel meat. But they used الجزور, they didn't use الإبل. ليش قالوا الجزور and didn't say لحم الإبل? We both describe camel, but الجزور more specific. فعند الحنابلة eating the camel meat breaks the wudu. But which meat? الجزور من الجزر. For the meat that was slaughtered and was cut of camels طبعا, the meat that was cut to eat, that's what breaks the wudu. أما if you ate, for example, liver, camel liver, and kabid. Kabid, you don't cut it to take it out, not meaning to cook it, but when you take it out of the camel, you separate it. Okay? You don't slaughter it or you don't cut it. You just, yes, you cut that tendon, but you separate it. It comes out one piece. فأكل, eating something like that doesn't break the wudu. Eating the meat, eating the meat is what breaks the wudu. Okay? That's for those who say it breaks the wudu. يعني مثلا الرأس the head the camel طبخته كده الرأس ديالك طبخته and you cooked it and you ate what's on it the eyes and the tongue with the meat and the face هذا ما you don't need to make wudu out because the meat itself to be cooked did not need to be cut. Okay? You got the picture? Alright. But that's why they use jazur, they didn't use ibil. سابع تغسيل الميت. The seventh is to wash the dead. طبعا هذا if he has direct contact with the dead person. فيعني someone helping, someone washing and he's pouring water on top of it. هذا ما عليه غسل. That person doesn't have to make غسل. الوضوء. احنا بنتكلم what breaks الوضوء. يقدر غسل. هذا رواية what breaks wudu? The one who directly washes and touches. Okay? Well, that is also nabi. However, the one standing there pouring water, passing things to the guy who's directly washing, هذا الحكم مش عارف. هذا if he has wudu, is still valid. طيب. Well, there is no difference between young or old washing, woman or man, doesn't matter. The eighth, الردة عن الإسلام. الردة عن الإسلام, to leave الإسلام. أنت you have wudu and you left الإسلام. خلاص your wudu is invalid. Who cares? لا. They care because what if he left الإسلام and immediately he came back? ما هو he said I left Islam for 2 seconds and now you know what I made a mistake لا إله إلا الله محمد. Do we count his wudu? لا, that invalidates his wudu. طيب. From all that what we said, from this opinion or these things that break the wudu, الراجح, whatever comes from the body, الفاحش والنجس, that is too much and najis, and touching the woman with shahwa, and touching the private part with either side of the hand, والردة عن الإسلام, and leaving الإسلام, rajih, the more correct, they do not break the wudu. Why? Because of the dalil. Someone made valid wudu. To take him out of that validity, there must be a dalil. So these things we mentioned, and first I went along with Musannif, with Hanabi. But then we're going to say, what is more correct, closer to the dalil? What I just mentioned to you does not really break. When it breaks, if we take one of them, touching the wife with shahwa, it will break wudu if it leads to something coming out. Because what? Because so now you did not break your wudu because you touched your wife. It broke your wudu because something came out. You know, the pre-seminal fluid. It came out. Now it broke wudu because something came out from your private part. And in general, touching the wife and hugging her and kissing her, even if there is shahwa, as long as nothing comes out, it does not lead to anything, the wudu is still valid. And things coming out of the body, now even if they're najis, does not necessarily mean it's going to break your wudu. Now too much, we talked about in jihad and how blunt. Now being najis, now when I ask you a question, if you are walking, you have wudu and you're walking and you stepped on manure or dog feces or whatever, do you need to make wudu? What you need to do? Wash the area. Wash the area. But in bad if something comes out of your body, it doesn't break your wudu.
حتى لو كلب يعني
كلب.
a dog licks you. Some people say that it breaks it.
No, we're talking about things coming out of the body. We're not talking about getting licked. Okay? A dog licking you, now we're talking about different najas. Even if the dog licks you, that doesn't break your wudu. The thing you need to be worried about that is najasa on your clothes. Then you cannot pray. And that doesn't. The Prophet ﷺ didn't say, if a dog licks you, you need to make wudu 7 times. Right? He said you need to clean the bowl that he drank from 7 times. And that is the moisture of the dog, not just the dog. Some brothers go, I just went to fix someone's AC or something, and they had a dog, and he touched it. Nice doggy, you know. Touch. Talking about the moisture of the moisture in his body or moisture from his mouth, because the moisture in his body, you don't know. It could be from his from his mouth. So we're gonna assume any moisture he has is his lu'ab, is his saliva. That is najis. Okay, but the thing is, it doesn't break the wudu. It just get the area najis, and that must be purified or clean. Okay, so touching the farj, touching the private part, doesn't break the wudu, according to an opinion. He has a very strong opinion, and also I will not say very weak opinion for those who said it does. Okay, so that the forelift, al-kharij min as-sabilayn, what comes out of the private parts, the lul or the loss of mind, eating the lahm al-jazur, the meat, taghsil al-mayyit, and washing the dead. These are the 4 things that we have a proof or dalil that they break the wudu. Okay? The other 4, rajih, they don't. So do not freak out. Okay? If they happen to you.
الراجح لا يبطل يعني اللي هو الخارج الفاحش ومس مرة بشوة ومس الفرج وايه الرابع؟
الرد.
الرد. جزاك الله.
Why we say the ridda doesn't break the wudu? Why we say apostasy doesn't break the wudu? Like, if someone Muslim made Hajj al-Islam, the obligation of Hajj, and left Islam, and then he came back, do we obligate him to make another Hajj?
No.
Why?
كان مسلم لما حج.
كان ايه؟
كان مسلم لما حج.
كتب له. So شو بتقول يعيد؟ الحج, you're gonna pay for his Hajj. لا, he doesn't repeat. Why? Because at the time when the ibadah took place, he met the conditions. And to invalidate something, you better have a dalil. When he made Hajj, يعني مثلا, when we talk about wiping on the socks and putting them on. Like, if I wipe, I have wudu, right? If I take off my socks, I didn't lose my wudu, but I took off my socks. What happened to my wudu? Any opinion? Some said immediately your wudu is invalid. Some say you have to wash the feet. And if you wipe 2 days ago, you're traveling, you wipe 2 days ago, and now you take the socks off, you have to wash only the feet. Some say you have to start all over again. الراجح قال ابن تيمية رحمه الله محقق إنه your wudu is valid. You still have wudu. And the reason for that, because when you wipe, when you establish the wudu, when you enter the state of wudu, what happened? You have fulfilled all the requirements. But now to say taking off the socks breaks my wudu, bring me dalil. Bring the dalil.
من يكفر يحبط عمله. من يكفر يحبط عمله.
من ايش؟ يكفر؟
يحبط عمله.
نعم.
وهو عمل كل عمل كفر.
من؟
اللي راح حج.
الخرج من الإسلام. نقول طيب الخرج من الإسلام يحبط عمله. نعم. طب كان be reinstated. هو ليش حبط عمله؟ لأنه كفر. حتى لو بقي عمله will help him? Doesn't. So now when he went back to Islam, the one who invalidated his deeds, can't he reward him by reinstalling them? ايش قال الله عز وجل؟ آمن ثم كفر ثم ايش؟ ثم كفر فلن يغفر الله. فالعبرة بالنهاية in the last thing. قال إن الذين آمنوا ثم كفروا ثم آمنوا ثم كفروا ثم ازدادوا كفرا. That's the way of the problem. They believed, then they disbelieved. They believed, they didn't disbelieve. Then they increase in disbelief. With the other ayah, they disbelieve and they die. That's where the problem is. أما الإنسان إذا رجع and comes back to his mind and his senses, يغفر الله له ويقبل. بعض الصحابة ارتدوا and then came back. الراجح طبعا again احنا نتكلم عن الراجح. الراجح من أقوال أهل العلم إنه لا إعادة عليه. طيب if we say he has to repeat because his عمل حبط. طيب when he was Muslim for 20-30 years, he was obligated to fast. So now he left Islam and he came back. Now we're going to obligate him to fast 30 years? 30 Ramadan? Are we going to obligate him to pray 5 prayers for every day of the 30 years? الراجح إنه الكافر مكلف. الكافر also obligated to pray. And if he prays, it will not be accepted from him. But when he became Muslim, did the Prophet ﷺ ask anyone to make up for the prayers they missed? قال الله تعالى قالوا ما سلككم في سقر. What drove you into سقر? What led you to سقر? To الكفار. قالوا لم نكن من المصلين. We didn't pray. ولم نكن نؤمن بيوم الدين. كنا نخوض. And we did not believe in the day of judgment. Anyone who doesn't believe in the day of judgment is what? Kafir. So they were kuffar. Yet, the very first thing they said that led them into the hellfire, they didn't pray. So the ulama deduct or understand from this ayah that the kafir mukallaf and obligated to pray. And if he prays, it will not be accepted from him and he will be asked about it. And he will be punished. ما في له مخرج إلا الإسلام except لا إله إلا الله. ما ندخل الآن في ما ندخل في هذه الأمور. الله يرضى عليك. Everything بتفرع. Anything can start branching out. خاصة في أمور الفقه. لما نرجع في الفقه can branch out and we can keep talking. But it's better. We have curriculum or we have مقرر and we have specific things we don't want to try to finish. اقرأ.
الشرط الخامس إزالة النجاسة من 3: من البدن والثوب والبقعة، والدليل قوله تعالى وثيابك فطهر.
Now we return back to the شروط الصلاة, the conditions of الصلاة. He said the 5th condition is to remove النجاسة from 3 things: from your body or off your body, and off your garment, and off the spot where you will pray. Okay? قال الله تعالى وثيابك فطهر. ومعنى ثيابك فطهر أي طهر أعمالك، لكن لا يضر. It means ثيابك فطهر and your garment purify. It means الراجح that it means that purify your action. But at the same time it could and it's possible to be understood that the garment need to be purified from there. والنجاسة المقصودة هنا, the impurity he is referring to is النجاسة الحكمية. والنجاسة الحكمية, something that ruled as najis, and usually it's mustaqdar, meaning brings disgust, brings to the person disgust. But that is need to be removed, okay? And it occurs on the place that the three things that Shar or Musannif rahimahullah said according to Shar. مثلا البول, مثلا feces. Not everything disgusting is najis. So just because it's disgusting doesn't mean it's najis. Spit, saliva, snot, comes out of your nose, the fluid out of your nose. These mustaqdar, disgusting, but it's not najis. So it doesn't affect your garment or your prayer. If you pray when it's on your thawb or something like that. Now, إزالتها, removing it, means to completely get rid of it. Completely get rid of it. اقرأ.
الشرط السادس ستر العورة. أجمع أهل العلم على فساد صلاة من صلى عريانا وهو يقدر، وحد عورة الرجل من السرة إلى الركبة، والأمة كذلك، والحرة كلها عورة إلا وجهها في الصلاة. والدليل قوله تعالى يا بني آدم خذوا زينتكم عند كل مسجد، أي عند كل صلاة.
The sixth condition for a salah is to cover the awrah. To cover the awrah. والعورة سوءة الإنسان يستحي منها. Is the part of his body that he should be shy to show. Okay? Pay attention to should be. Someone could walk with bikini and she's not shy. Some man could walk with very short shorts, that's it, and he's not shy. But الفطرة السليمة, الفطرة السوية, what a normal human being should be shy of showing, that is considered العورة. Okay? Considered العورة. الرجل, the man, as he mentioned here, his awrah, whether he is free man or slave man. Okay? They mention that because the slave woman different than free woman. But the free man or slave man, his awrah min as-surra ila al-rukbah, from his navel to his knee. Again, including. Okay? So the navel is covered and the knees are covered. Hadith Jabir. The free woman, the one who's not a slave, so of course when it existed, all of her is awrah, and now we're talking about the salah. All of her is awrah, preparing herself to pray. All of her is awrah except what he said, her face. Right? والحرة كلها عورة إلا وجهها في الصلاة. Stick that we're talking about the salah. الراجح regarding the woman praying, she's in her house or away from strange men, that she can show her face, her hands, and her feet. Because the feet is something that is very difficult to keep covered in the salah, especially the bottom. Okay? وطبعا بعض العلماء said the feet should be covered. Okay? That's also an opinion. But according to muhaqqiqeen and those who look deeper into maqasid al-sharia, it's very difficult for the woman to cover her feet. Now remember, we're talking about in the salah. We're not talking about on the street, walking on the street. We're talking about the salah, so don't take it beyond them. Okay? For the free woman, what she can show in her salah, her face, her hands, and her feet, if strange men are not around. الأمة المملوكة, the slave woman, and they differentiate between slave woman and a free woman. They said الأمة تصلي كما تخرج. The slave woman prays the way she leaves the house. She prays the way she leaves the house. يعني her aura in the salah is the same as her aura outside the salah. Like what is her aura? قالوا في عهد الصحابة, the slave women used to leave their face showing, their hair showing, their neck showing, their hands showing, their arms, and their legs showing to the knees. These are the slave women. Okay? So they said her salah is the same as she walks around. Okay? But you don't have those. That is, they differentiated to show you that in a sound society, and society on the fitrah, the top women are the ones who are more covered. Now ترى نساء المسلمين, she wants to show more. Subhanallah, she wants to be a slave. Slave for whom? Wants to be a slave for those who are looking at her. Subhanallah. طيب, والآية ذكرها يا بني آدم خذوا زينتكم عند كل مسجد. Take your beauty at every masjid, is a dalil to cover the awrah. So even though it talks about purifying yourself for the masjid and dress your best clothes, but also since the fact of dressing mentioned, then it's indicative of covering the awrah. So zina amr zaid on the cover. Inshallah, at 1 o'clock, the lunch will be here. 1? 2? You guys just ate breakfast, right? 2, inshallah. Wait. I just want to finish shurut al-salah, and then we take a break for 15 minutes, inshallah. And then we proceed, and then we break for dhuhr and for lunch. Okay? Yeah.
الشرط السابع دخول الوقت. والدليل من السنة حديث جبريل عليه السلام أنه أما النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم في أول الوقت وفي آخره فقال يا محمد الصلاة ما بين هذين الوقتين. وقوله تعالى إن الصلاة كانت على المؤمنين كتابا موقوتا، أي مفروضا في الأوقات. ودليل الأوقات قوله تعالى أقم الصلاة لدلوك الشمس إلى غسق الليل وقرآن الفجر إن قرآن الفجر كان مشهودا.
The 7th condition or prerequisite is for the salah, is for the time of the intended salah to come in. So you cannot pray a fariḍah before its time that dictated by the shara comes in. That is obvious and straightforward. Okay? And al-dalil, he mentions, Allah Azza wa Jal says that salah prescribed upon the believers at specific times. Okay? And he also mentions the ayah أقم الصلاة لدلوك الشمس من الإسراء, وهي آية مجملة about the 5 times of the prayers. About the 5 prayers times. فالله عز وجل said establish the salah لدلوك الشمس. دلوك الشمس زوال. يعني when the shams start coming down from being in the center of the sky. When it start coming down, هذا زوال دلوك الشمس. فthat includes what prayers after the shams comes down? Dhuhr wal Asr. Yani now it came down, the next thing happens is what? It goes out, starts set. So between coming down and before it sets, you have Dhuhr and Asr. أقم الصلاة لدلوك الشمس إلى غسق الليل. غسق الليل is ظلمة الليل. غسق الليل is the darkness of the night. In the darkness of the night, which prayers? Maghrib wal Isha. Maghrib wal Isha. Then he said, وقرآن الفجر إن قرآن الفجر كان مشهودا. قرآن الفجر يعني صلاة الفجر. Okay? يعني صلاة الفجر. طب ليش؟ ليش separated الفجر from them? Besides, it's a great salah, the Quran is great in it. No. Now we're talking about time-wise. But you have to, when you give a reason, you have to relate it into the context we're talking about times. Why al-Fajr on its own? ايش؟ لا. Again, I said, yeah, what you guys saying are right things, but when we ask question, in a certain context, the answer needs to be in that context. We're talking about the times of the salawat. We're saying Allah combined the 5 prayers in this ayah. Why the Fajr was mentioned on its own?
الوقت بتاع الفجر صغير. وقت الفجر قليل.
طيب كل يحكوا ما شاء الله. جزاكم الله خير. لا، لأنه الفجر elapses a time where there is no prayers. الراجح إنه العشاء وقت العشاء ends at the end of the third of the night, first third. So from the first third of the night until Fajr, there's no fariḍah. And the Fajr ends until Dhuhr. There's no fariḍah. So it's separate. There is nothing, there is no other salah to combine it. That's why it was mentioned by itself. شوف انت, when you combine, what can you combine? Dhuhr wa Asr, Maghrib wa Isha. Why? Because they are in the same period. They're in the same period. They're connected. Some of the fuqaha said the time of Maghrib is the time of prayer. That's it. You make adhan and you pray, time of Maghrib out. They're connected. Their time is together. Once the sun starts setting, time of Dhuhr and Asr. Once the sun set, once the sun starts coming, setting down, from the middle of the day, Dhuhr and Asr. Once it's set and start disappearing, that's Maghrib and Isha. Al-Fajr is separated from both periods. There is no salah before it and there is no salah after. So you cannot combine it to any other salah, so it was mentioned by itself. اقرأ. ليش قريبين؟ أكيد.
الشرط الثامن استقبال القبلة والدليل قوله تعالى قد نرى تقلب وجهك في السماء فلنولينك قبلة ترضاها فول وجهك شطر المسجد الحرام وحيثما كنتم فولوا وجوهكم شطره.
The eighth prerequisite is facing the Qibla. Okay? Facing the Qibla. Now, the Qibla is the Kaaba. Qibla is the Kaaba. That's our Qibla. Okay? Now, there is different hukum for he who can see the Kaaba and he who cannot see the Kaaba. For the one who can see the Kaaba, his Qibla must be straight at the Kaaba. ماشي. يعني if he draws a straight line from himself and goes ahead of him, it must somewhere hit the Kaaba. The one who's far away from the Kaaba, his Qibla is the direction of the Kaaba. طيب, what is the fruit of all that? So when you walk into a masjid and you find them fighting, because they put the masjid, the Qibla, 2 degrees off. Or 5 degrees, or 10 degrees. Is it worth to create fitna? Is it in the direction of the Qibla? حتى قال العلماء, whether you go east or you go northeast, in the direction of the Kaaba. If you go straight, most probably you will not be straight at the Kaaba, but you're going to be in the vicinity, not in the Sahn, but around Mecca. But we go northeast, مثلا here in Florida, okay, or in North America, okay. جاء عندك الأحباش Griffin, they made takfir on us. They said whoever goes Qibla northeast, kafir. Yeah. So what is the Qibla? They said east. So what do we tell them? Allah, أنت for me Muslim. ما عندي مشكلة. You want to go east, that's fine. But to make takfir on me because I go northeast, ويجيب لك الكرة الأرضية and this ball and they have the globe. And he tells you, you see, you go this way and you go straight. الكرة الأرضية isn't straight. Now he looks at the map, the picture, and goes east to hit Mecca. هي الكرة الأرضية flat. وحتى if you want to go with that, that's fine. That's fine. Flat. When you fly, when you fly from Miami, let's say, to Mecca for Al-Hajj, you say, why are they going so much up? Just go straight. Going northeast actually gets them faster. Say, man, I should have left from New York then. Oh, he keeps going, and then he starts. It's vertical. But regardless, that's not the issue. The issue is, due to the lack of knowledge, and due to the ignorance, he made takfir on us, Habashi, because we go northeast. So why he said? He said because now your Qibla is the Qibla of other than the Qibla of the Muslimin. Yes. Here's the hadith. You want to go east, you want to go northeast, it's not a big deal. It's better to try to get as close as possible. But the point is, for those who are far away from the Kaaba, their Qibla is the direction of the Kaaba. يعني someone, I don't want to go that deep, that more complicated, but someone in California, I gotta say it, yeah. Someone in China goes east or west? West. Someone in Pakistan goes east or west? Qibla is east or west? South. Pakistan over Mecca? He goes west. Might be northwest or whatever, but west. Mecca, Pakistan to the west, or let's say Egypt to the east. So the Egyptian goes east, northeast, southeast, but east. The Pakistani goes west. The Chinese Muslim, west. طيب the Muslim in California مثلا, can he go west? Can he go east?
Yes.
مش هو will be at the end. طبعا هو he wants to choose the closest, because that is better, and I think the closest is east from California. But the point is, it's not a matter that we should be divided upon. And most of the things that Muslim community is divided over, stuff like that. Why we're divided? Because people who have no knowledge are the ones who are running the communities.
Well, if we take it from the beginning,
إنما الأعمال بالنيات, لكن the action by intention, true. However, you need to make the effort. You need to make the effort. You're not excused. If you have people, if you move to an area or you're traveling and you pass by an area and you say, okay, wherever you are, you face you direct, or you turn your face to the east, and you say, I think this is the east, and you go, لا, ما يصير. مش قلنا الاتباع؟ الاتباع is to follow Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam would face them, would direct himself. If he's far away from the Kaaba, he will make his effort to be facing it, like to be in that direction. فأنت, you have people in town around you, and you come to a motel, or you come to a hotel, and you're in the room. I know it's time for prayer. Where is east? I think this. And you go, لا, وطلعت غلطان. You were facing north, or you're facing south. You're not excused. You have broken the condition. Why? Because you had the ability to ask anyone to tell you where the right direction. That's one. Second, it's not a matter that you had no access to anyone to tell you, so you made your best ijtihad. If you made your best ijtihad and ended up the qibla was wrong, there is no problem. Then we go to wherever you are, then you face Masjid. You made your best effort, then you will not be obligated to repeat if you find out that it was in Mecca. Okay? But if you were negligent, you need to repeat. You did not make your best effort to find the east, and you had many people who could tell you where that, or northeast, or whatever direction, wherever you are, then you were negligent of the shart, so you broke the shart. Alright? Understand? أما أنت في صحراء, you're in the desert, you don't know where is east, or no one to ask. If you look and say, you see sun or whatever, you say, you know what? Most probably this is the east. الله أكبر. ما في شيء. إجا لك واحد بعد ساعتين قال لك no, the east is there. The east is this direction. Doesn't matter. Don't repeat. You made your best effort. But someone prayed and then found out he didn't have wudu. طب مش هذا شرط وهذا شرط. He thought he had wudu, and then when he finished the salah, somehow he reached yaqeen that he didn't have wudu. Does he repeat or not?
Yes.
Why? But this is condition and this is condition. Why we differentiate it? But we said القبل facing the qibla is a wajib, is a shart, condition. Wudu condition. So they're at the same level. So why one, when it was not fulfilled, we said you don't repeat, but when it was not fulfilled, we said you must repeat.
Dalil.
Simple. Dalil. Dalil. Dalil says no salah without tuhur. So if there is no tuhur, whether I forgot, whether I didn't forget, there is no tuhur, no wudu, I have to repeat. القبلة أمرها أوسع. It's more. الأدلة show that you make your best effort. Best effort doesn't mean only you depend on yourself. Best effort to ask مثلا. Now you have these phones and they have these compasses. طيب اقرأ. طيب أركان الصلاة نتوقف هنا إن شاء الله. We start here.
الشرط التاسع.
الشرط التاسع النية ومحلها القلب والتلفظ بها بدعة. والدليل الحديث الذي رواه عمر قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم إنما الأعمال بالنيات وإنما لكل امرئ ما نوى.
Now you know what إنما الأعمال بالنيات وإنما لكل امرئ ما نوى refers to. إنما الأعمال بالنيات refers to what? To the action. وإنما لكل امرئ ما نوى to the act. الفعل والفاعل. طيب. Here he said the ninth condition is in niyyah. In niyyah. We talked about in niyyah already. And the place of in niyyah is the heart. And uttering the niyyah is bid'ah. ما له أصل. Okay? To say نويت أن أتوضأ أو نويت أن أصلي. Not permissible. And it will not. يجي ناس يجي واحد يجي الصلاة الله أكبر or before الله نويت أن أصلي صلاة الظهر 4 ركعات تقربا لله تعالى في مسجد السنة النبوية في تاريخ March 20. I say I intend before he said Allah Akbar I intend to pray on March 20, 2015 in Masjid As-Sunnah An-Nabawiyyah at 1 o'clock and 4 rak'ah seeking the ajr from Allah. Imagine. Niyyah, the tongue has nothing to do with the niyyah. Niyyah is in the heart. Okay? So when we talk about the niyyah, let's talk about the different parts of it. One niyyah is to fulfill the action seeking the pleasure of Allah. Right. Second, نية تعيينها بأن ينوي صلاة بعينها. To intend, the second level or the second part is to have the intention to pray a prayer specifically, that specific prayer. If it's نافلة نافلة. Okay. وطبعا النوافل تختلف. نوافل different. In the fard, in the fariḍah, you don't have to have rajih. You don't have to have present to your heart and your mind that you're going to pray that specific prayer. You left your home, coming to the masjid at 2 o'clock. Why you left your home? To pray Maghrib? No. So you don't have to have presence on your mind or on your heart that you're praying Dhuhr. And al-Rajih. بعضهم قال you have to specify in your heart. Okay? لكن الراجح خلاص انت you came to the masjid, you left your home to come here to be at 2, you know you're coming for Dhuhr. It's in the back of your mind. You don't have it to have prayer. But you have to have the intention that I'm coming to pray. Okay? Or you stand at the time of the prayer, you want to pray. Why? Because that is open door for waswas. Did I say Dhuhr or Asr? In the middle of the sun. Did I say Dhuhr or Asr? My heart, what did you say? Dhuhr or Asr? Okay, let's start over. Dhuhr, Allah. But people have problems with that. You won't even believe it. You find a person will leave the salah 15, 20 times. Will leave the salah 15, 20 times to make wudu. Over 15, 20 times. Did I read al-Fatiha? Oh, let me repeat. 15, 20 times in the salah will repeat al-Fatiha. وسواس خطير. وأحكام الشريعة, when it comes to the ibadat like that, always gonna go in the direction and with the opinion that block a chance for waswas. Because هذا من مقاصد الشرع in this aspect. To block the chance for the person to to start having waswas. And what did I do? And OCD and all that. Okay? فلما تأتي إلى الصلاة خلاص مطلوب منك نية. نية إيش؟ نية required from you to do it sincerely for Allah and to pray. And when I'm in the masjid at 2 o'clock, I'm here to pray Dhuhr, not to pray Asr or Maghrib. Okay? والثالث نية الإمامة والائتمام. Also that is my niyyah to be the imam. Okay? وهذه specifically only for الجماعة. Or niyyah to be مأموم. My niyyah. طبعا هذا if you're coming forward to lead the prayer. But rajih, it's not even into the picture. It's not required. It's not required. So the most two important things is to have the sincerity you're doing it for Allah, and second, you're doing it for Salah, for that specific Salah, and it doesn't have to be on your mind that specific. Like, we stop here inshallah, and we'll take 15 minutes break. Maybe we can finish شروط الصلاة before Dhuhr, inshallah, and so you can feel that you have accomplished something. والقول هذا استغفر الله لي الحمد لله.